Do you ever use autotune?
No, never, no.
No, never.
Ah yes, the comment that I see on literally every singer's YouTube video ever. The greatest insult that a hater can throw at a singer because it hits us right where it hurts. You use
Auto-tune.
Let's talk about that. Specifically, we are going to talk about 3 things today, and that is tuning, style, and pitch. Are my vocals very selectively tuned at times? You bet. Is that something to be afraid of? No. And before you write a hate comment, I'm gonna tell you exactly why. Before we jump in, be sure that you are subscribed for more videos and music videos on this channel right here with your notifications on. And I'm also gonna be posting a lot of like little clips of me singing and rehearsing and stuff like that on my Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. So go check that out down below. It's a fun time on here, and I hope you'll stick around. Now, let's talk about the autotune. Never, ever confuse autotune with tuning. They are 2 different things. Autotune is a very specific software that is most known for being on automatic mode. That means that the computer is inputted with a key and then it forces all of the pitches that it hears to be in that key. Some artists will utilize that sound very intentionally. Classic example is T-Pain. But there are alternative tuning softwares to autotune. For example, Melodyne is another very commonly used software, and that's more known for going in by hand and tuning individual notes as little as physically possible in order to create a more polished feel overall. So essentially, tuning softwares can be used very, very differently and to vastly varying degrees. So how and when did I start using tuning? Well, the first time I used a music producer at all was when I did a parody of Wrecking Ball years ago. I like the ball in the sink! Because I realized that even if I hit the notes, if it wasn't tuned and compressed within an inch of its life, it didn't sound like pop music. And if it didn't sound like pop music, it wasn't as funny as it could be. And that's where we talk about style. Drastically oversimplified music producer speak incoming. Older popular music was often mixed as if you were standing in a room amidst the musicians. This allowed for the fact that if something wasn't flawlessly on pitch, there was a whole lot more for your brain to kind of filter through, and it would cover for it. Nowadays, pop music is mixed what we call forward, so everything's kind of at the front, and that allows for things, when they're not perfect, to clash a lot easier and a lot more noticeably. Style is the dictator as to whether or not a producer would choose to tune something. If I'm singing like classical or some musical theater or jazz, they didn't really have much of an ability to tune when those things were being written. Therefore, we wouldn't touch it. That said, if I'm doing a highly produced pop music video, then yes, we are going to use tuning when necessary. If we didn't, you'd probably notice. It would feel weird. For me as a filmmaker, this rule is also visual. For example, take my video Little Love. That is 1 take, and it is quiet and intimate in a room. It's meant to sound very acoustic. And so the music production is gonna match that. There's no tuning in that. And on the other hand, you have Running, which is about as poppy as I get. It's entirely about the style of the song and the video and making them one. So, finally, what happens when we do use tuning? Tuning. I keep doing the liquid U. I don't... is that right? I do everything I can to sing on pitch. That's always my goal, and I will do things over and over and over again for that purpose. I, according to my producers, have an 85 to 95% pitch accuracy in my raw vocals, depending on how hard or how out of my style range the song is. They say that's very good, so I'm gonna take their word for it. But what happens to that extra 5 to 15% when we're doing a pop song? If I am attempting a certain vocal move and I get a take that has the exact emotion that we're looking for, but maybe there's a note or two that is just like a few cents off, my producers will choose that take and tune it over a take in which I am completely on pitch, but without that emotion that we thought was fantastic. In those moments, I am choosing between serving my music and serving my ego. In the YouTube recording world, I am often learning a song as I'm recording it. You have to rely on your own technique in order to nail it the first time. Is my technique good enough that I can usually be efficient? Yes, that's why I produce so many videos. But I'm also working under time constraints. Maybe I've only rented the studio for so long, or maybe I need to move on to the next thing. And if I have a tool that is going to make my music be more polished and more impactful within the constraints that I am working in, I'm gonna use it. Especially if I know that now that we've found what we want, I can practice the crap out of that and be able to replicate it live reliably every time. Bonus round! I want to talk about 2 other instances in which tuning might be used, but maybe you wouldn't think of. This is where I blow your mind and redefine how you think about pitch. Unless you already know about harmonics and stuff, in which case, good for you. When you think of tuning, you think of being on pitch. So, what is pitch? There are true note values, and then there are notes in relation to each other, i.e. a harmony. And then there are varying ways in which to make notes harmonize with each other. 2 notes can be tuned to 2 different harmonic relationships that will both qualify as being in tune depending on the context. Are you confused? Grab some headphones or some good speakers, or you might be able to hear this on a low quality speaker. But take a listen. Nerding out so hard. They are both technically a major third, but the first harmony is tuned in a method that we call equal temperament, the conventional form of tuning that we use in Western music. And the other harmony is tuned to what we call ideal harmonic resonance. This actually occurs when one of the notes is tuned a few cents off what we would consider to be the correct pitch. Correct to Western ears is only defined by the fact that we've heard it that way for centuries. But music is first and foremost about feeling. And achieving this specific level of harmonic resonance can be really, really impactful on the listener, even if they don't notice it intellectually. So there are genuinely times where my producer might tune me slightly further away from the conventional note value in order to create a more powerful feeling or help me blend better with other instruments. I also try to tune myself in the moment, but unless you're born with perfect pitch, which sadly I am not, it's usually something that comes out in post-production. I also want to mention the use of tuning in acapella, which is probably where the most tuning is used on me for those same harmonic resonance reasons. In acapella, when you're working with a single voice, you have to treat your voice more like an instrument that might have different capabilities that you would never be called upon to use or reproduce live. No one will ever ask me to sing bass outside of a recording booth. Ever. So it's okay to play with it a little bit. If we need a note in a chord that's a little bit too far out of my very soprano range, I will sing it up the octave and will drop it down. The other thing my producer will do is she'll take my whole bass line that I've sung and drop it down the octave and put it really quietly in the mix so that when you're listening to it, you may not hear it immediately, but you also won't feel like the bottom has been ripped out from under you. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a destiny. It all comes back to style and making the best music you can out of the given circumstances. When used well, tuning is just a tool to make your music sound as good as possible. Can it also be used as a crutch? Yeah. If you are tuning yourself to a note that you cannot reproduce live, and you might be called upon to do so, you're asking for trouble. That is not the best use of the software. I will also never use tuning live. A lot of pop stars have a low level or even a medium level of automatic tuning on their voice in their live concerts. That I will not do because you're in a room with the music. There's so much more to experience in a live setting compared to listening to someone's latest single alone on headphones. I don't see tuning to be a necessary tool in a live context. So if it's unnecessary, I'm not going to use it. Basically, if you can't sing it live, Don't make it sound like you can. I follow that rule and I will stick to it. So there you go. I hope this was maybe eye-opening or informative or just gave you a new perspective on my music and music in general. Let me know if there's anything else that you would like me to talk about or demonstrate music-wise or singing-wise or, you know, life-wise. I'm really curious what you want to see, so comment down below. I'm going to include some other links to a whole bunch of really cool videos on this subject, and if you want to know more, definitely check those out. I've also got new merchandise, and I'm going to put the links to that here and here. And once again, be sure you are subscribed to Malinda with your notifications on. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to hang out with me for a hot minute, and I will see you back with some more music next week. Bye! Mwah.